Hey, it's 28 millimeter RPG. Rick here with Crispy and Shonner. I'm here to introduce my friends to a treat. We're gonna go ahead and we are going to pretend that we are three guys that are about to join this group, this fantastic group that we've heard about, full of role play and everything, and we have our characters ready for some Star Wars. You guys ready for some Star Wars?
Yes.
Oh yeah. I hear like very enthusiastic players here.
I'm a Star Trek guy. That's why.
Yeah, okay.
I have a medical excuse.
All right, so we're about to embark on this Star Wars. Are we ready?
Do we need the things to hold our eyelids open?
Okay.
It's a very Clockwork Orange session. I know what we're in for.
Okay. So let's go ahead. We walk into the room. We sit ourselves down. And the Game Master speaks with the other players besides us. Here we go. Are you guys hearing this?
No, not. It's not coming through.
Computers or other slicing checks.
There we go.
Now here.
Okay, now we go. Okay, let's do this.
Once per round, I may use Master Slice and Incidental to suffer 2 strain to decrease the difficulty of computers or other slicing checks to a minimum of 1 purple.
Very nice.
So wait, is that a signature ability or is that just?
I don't know.
your-
I just have them written down, and I'm trying to see. I don't.
What's
it doesn't-
your
mental
profession?
Slicer spy, because the sheet that I have, signature ability is an empty line. So I guess mental fortress. No,
Okay, have we started the game yet? This is the middle. This is in their game. So
Is that Teresa?
I don't think it's Teresa. I don't think it's someone who, like, it sounds to me like it's someone who hasn't learned the game. Like, this is maybe a player that doesn't know. Is that fair? Rick?
Exactly.
And the VTT, they don't know the VTT either, probably.
Yeah, it's important to know the game. Like, if you're going to play a game and you want to bring a new player in, like I'm your new player, I need to know the stuff about my character. I don't know, like, I just have it written on my sheet. I don't know what that does. I mean, that's no good. That's no good. You can't have that.
Hey, I grabbed a sheet off the internet.
Yeah. It says I'm a slicer. It lets me do this thing. I'm like, oh, is that a signature ability? I don't know. Does anybody know this game?
I saw a fanfic page and I borrowed their NPC.
Yeah. Well, this is Roll20. Okay.
Just so that people know, this is a group. They're called Creative Play and Podcast Network, LLC. Just I'll put a link in the bottom in the description as well. But yeah, definitely there when you show up to a game, everybody should know the rules, the basics of the rules, at least have some sort of grasp. I mean, we do have like with our games, Crispy, we do have a little warm-up session
we'll practice.
We do like a practice maybe a couple days before or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so we can work out any kind of weird things that we may have on our character sheets that we want to kind of
basic mechanics. Yeah, like, how does this work? What does this mean on your? I have this skill. How do you use that?
Yeah, because I mean we're trying new systems all the time, and you want to have a gist of how it works, and be able to get into the game here and play it out without having to ask these crazy questions all the time. Mm-hmm. So, Shonner, do you think it's a good session so far?
It's like all the other sessions out there. The 99%.
Let's go ahead and skip a little bit further, but not by much.
But I've been wanting one for like the last couple of years.
Yeah, same here.
And
every
then
every time they get one in at the warehouse, it's like
they're talking. Okay, they're talking about a gun. Let's go on here. Let's start.
And they're phoning in their play, so that's always a
So,
problem.
hey, Dave. Within the next week to week and a half, I will be procuring a Keltec KSG.
Wait a sec. Are they playing Star Wars? Is there Keltex in
been
Star
wanting-
Wars?
No. See, yeah, he's bringing in obviously.
I
you know,
mean, this is why before you start a session, it's a good idea to just sit around and talk and get caught up. And hey, I had this happen, or or my aunt died, or whatever. You have a chance to talk to one another, and then you can
Yeah.
do that after the game. But if the game has started, then you shouldn't be bringing that into the game. Oh, I got this. This pistol that I wanted to buy forever and end in a day, and now I finally got it. Like, what has that got to do with any of the, like, if I'm in your game and you just start talking about random stuff in real life, I'm like, well, so we're not playing anymore? Like, are we done? Like, are we, like, this is it?
Exactly. Shonner, you have anything to say?
Well, I thought that was like a character talking to a character, but was that just a player asking?
That's just a player talking about
Just
something they
Yeah.
want to do in real life. Like,
Okay.
he put in this order for a gun.
I'll check with some of the local shops first, but I'm probably going to order it from guns.com and have it go to
why was this put on the internet?
FFL nearby.
I
Pick it up there.
wouldn't put this
But,
on the internet. And I like guns, so don't get me wrong. I have nothing against guns. It's just like, why would you?
I don't think the players knew they were live.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this
so
is-
you should always tell your players that you're recording a session and that it's going to go up on your YouTube channel. It's only fair. Like you should.
They just see Roll20 in Discord, and that's all they know.
Yeah. We'll bring it up to a little bit, about 7-minute mark in this 10-minute thing.
It happens.
To go counter espionage, which totally makes sense for the spy that you are.
Why is this flickering like
So
that?
if you would like to
I
buy
have
that
no
ability
idea.
for 30
It'll
experience,
give me a seizure.
I
once
do
per
have
game,
30.
once per game session, you may spend 2 destiny points to make an opposed knowledge warfare versus deception check against an
Well,
identified
why
enemy,
warfare?
because it's
Okay,
the
hold on,
knowledge
I
of
gotta check.
warfare.
Warfare.
Against
So the game master is she's trying to help the player figure out exactly how her skill works. I guess they put skills together and they try to make them work. Kind of like
Okay, like they can
sort of
slam
building
one skill
block?
into another, and
yeah,
and it's
or
a new
something
skill.
like that. I'm not 100% sure. I think this is the Modifius version of Star Wars. I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
know that one at all.
Not sure.
But I tell you this: before I join a game, I would learn. I'd learn the system. So it's bare minimum. You have to learn the system
sure.
before you join.
Sure. You see if I can grab this other video file here. Make sure it's a longer one. But yeah, that whole
I'll start digging in.
10-minute clip there. This is the new one. I've bumped it out of here. But that whole 10-minute clip, I'm not sure if that was supposed to be everybody was off camera in that kind of instance. But we're going to go into this full, massive. We've got like how many?
Are those the dice they use? Oh,
Well, this is
Yeah, this is something different.
this
eh?
is Fantasy Flight Games.
it's a fantasy flight.
Oh,
one.
okay.
I guess it's still in print.
Okay. But this session here, this is about we'll go right across here. This looks to be about an hour and 35 minutes, not even. We'll just pick a spot, any spot,
Just
and let's
any
listen.
random spot.
Extricate 4 known rebel sympathizers, as well as a possible Jedi.
ooh, you're dropping the big words. Excellent. Jedi, you say?
I will give them the name Jax Tarek to see if they have any information on him.
Oh, okay. She's the game master. Okay.
She's
got it.
yeah,
Got it,
she's
got
the
it.
game master. I think
it.
yeah, if we're trying to do stuff where we're talking to the game master or the NPC, you definitely want to stay in character. I approach the whatever, whatever
Rick.
you want to call. I can't remember what.
Rick.
I have no idea what this is. But
You've picked a game with so many layers of bad. It's like where to begin.
But
They're using a
I mean,
VTT. They're talking
Yeah, I
out of
don't like the
character.
VTT.
They don't have their cameras
Yeah.
on. They're not role playing. They don't know the rules to the game. They picked a game that's hard as hell to play.
Looks complicated.
yeah,
it's
look at all the
RPR.
D4s. My gosh.
This game, you roll the bones, and then you have someone interpret the bones.
You have to interpret it.
Oh,
I think.
really?
So
Really?
role play removed automatically during this game. It's a lot like the Modifius Star Trek.
Look at how you have to, like on that C3M3 computer's dice roll that he made. Look at the results. Like, look at how many things you have to count up there.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Or do you
That
just not
is.
count some of them? Like you can ignore some results.
Some things will cancel out, and you just look for the results.
Okay. But look at that
Then
string
you
of
have to know
results.
you have to know
Yeah.
what the results mean, though.
But even in the most relaying of information between each other, that should stay within context of being in a role play fashion. You know, my character is speaking. He's telling you exactly where he's standing, what he is doing. But none of this is actually occurring on here. So, which it's
Well,
to
let's give
me-
him another shot. I mean, we
Now,
should.
let's go.
where are there players on this map? I see their little phoned in avatars at the bottom, but
Well,
are
I
they
think the one,
actually
yeah,
in
those
the
are
map?
just. Yeah, I think they have corresponding pogs or
Do
tokens.
the pogs match
I think they
their
do.
Roll20 Discord avatar? I hope. Otherwise,
think-
you end up with so much stuff.
Yeah,
on the
let's
screen.
get
Let's
to
see.
some place where we can.
Yeah, they do
Okay,
because like
so-
C3M3 is the same.
Where's the wiki? I'm looking for 2 wikis.
I don't see the Wookiee. I do see the this purple
Yeah.
Lachelle. I see her.
Yeah,
Maybe he's just not on this part of the map.
could be.
Wait,
got some-
Tozen Car something is on the map twice. Is that this blue? Oh, is
Those
that
are
the? It must be the
NPCs
game.
probably.
Is that the? Okay.
When you see 2 pogs that are the same, those are NPCs.
Huh.
Soldiers, guards.
All right. Here we go.
Okay, so we got some movement happening over here. So
Okay.
let's start from.
Be nice if their pogs
right
look
about
like
here.
Star Wars characters.
Whoop. And of course, I try to hit the play and not hit the play. Let's go to.
Any random spot is
Yeah, here we
equally
go.
bad.
So, I don't know if you've got the time right now, but some of your compatriots here seem to be injured. Do you think you could help them out? We have some medical supplies, I'm sure.
Oh, that is a wonderful suggestion. And she will totally go around to each of them and, as you see
It's
her
gonna
going
have
around
to-
doing medicine, 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 medicine. Oh, she's up here. Oh, that's because I got a bunch of negative dice in there. What the hell are those doing there? Okay, try that
Certainly
again.
not helping her do medicine.
And she goes up in medicine, 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 medicine. As
This is how
What
this is
are
how
we
we
looking at?
distribute healing, and you get a car, and you get a car. Like
It sounds like a
Oprah.
game show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
It's flipping. Like they started off pretty good. The guy was trying to say what his character was saying, and then she took it and turned it into. She started off not bad. And then suddenly she was in second person, like, started to, label off what she was, all the things that she was about to do. And it turned into a mess from there.
So how old is this video?
This is like brand new.
Brand new.
Brand new.
This is a
This
good
looks like
example.
a COVID. This looks like COVID era. Like a Zoom meeting was happening.
Let's see if they have an explanation on here when they did this. Go ahead. And
If
bring
if
it
it's
up.
just like, if this isn't imminent threat and she's just going around putting med packs on people, then it's not an interesting result. Like, I don't know if there's a need for a dice roll. Maybe the mechanics demand it, but
Med packs should be underneath every seat.
yeah. in the event of a water landing, in event of a blaster,
Or it
wound,
falls from the ceiling or something.
yeah,
Let's
it
see
just
where
doesn't
we're
seem
at.
like it's. If you're just going to spam a roll like that, I would
Yeah, if you want to give everyone medicine, just
give 'em
give everyone medicine.
Yeah,
Roll to
next.
see if they don't get medicine or not.
Does that even happen? Like, is it like
I
in
mean,
Star Wars, like
I
the
used
Bacta
to-
tank doesn't work for you because you're allergic to Bacta? Is that how that works? I don't
used
think
to
that
run-
works.
I used to be this GM. I used to run games like this because
Oh, I did.
You
Like last
think
year.
you're-
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it was like, I don't know, almost 20 years ago. I just, players wanted to roll dice every time it was their turn. So I get to roll dice. It's my turn.
Yeah. So according to this, this is recent. They have new episodes up on Twitch every Tuesday night at 9:15 EST.
So what number is this episode?
I believe this one's 15.
Wait,
Session 15.
Not the same players though. This isn't the same players. 15 in, because it can't be. There one
Well, they
lady
do,
didn't know what was in her.
They'll do stuff like S2 episode 9.
Oh,
Yeah,
They'll do that.
12.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll do that kind of nonsense.
Yeah, this is just saying session 15. So
It could be.
Oh, okay. So it could be different people then.
Could
I
be
thought I
season
recognized some of the
5.
pogs though.
It could be S5E15.
yeah. So let's continue on.
No one does the episode 300 anymore. They do it like Netflix now.
Yeah. All right.
Rick does seasons.
I do seasons. Yes.
There was like
Always-
4 episodes in a season.
Let's continue on here. Let's see what else happens.
And we plan our trip to the
Okay, so
Spaceport.
it's conveniently the next day as you guys are road tripping. Are you still in the ISB vehicles?
Hang on.
no,
Hang on. Stop.
You know,
Hang on.
if the game
Next
master
day?
doesn't, yeah.
Fast travel.
They didn't move any of their pogs around. It's the next
Yeah.
day. They
And then
stood
you had
there.
to ask them where you are. Like that's
They're still in the hangar. What
I mean, this. Yeah,
What is
I
this?
don't.
What is this room anyway?
I think it's a hangar.
It looks
it
like
looks
a
like
hangar.
it has a conveyor, like a baggage handling section there. That
Yeah,
looks
it's
like a
like-
baggage carousel of some kind, maybe.
I don't know if they're at a luggage spot or what, or a carry-on, or
This is driving me nuts. Okay, if you're going to use pogs or tokens, then all the tokens should either be flat, like where this, what is that? I can't, it's all kind of fuzzy, but where it's, it bothers me when some tokens are like straight down, top down view, and others are just
oh
portraits.
yeah,
This Yulara thing, okay, what is that? Is that another NPC? Then it should have the same, it just is drives me nuts. Like if you're going to have tokens, then make sure that there's some uniformity in the tokens so that it's not, well, this one's square and this one's circular and this one is 3D top down and this one's portrait, and this one's full body portrait.
Yeah, and some of them
Drives me
have backgrounds which look like they're consistent in a few of them, and then all of a sudden there's a PNG with the background erased.
Yeah,
And that
yeah,
sort
like
of
that.
thing,
I don't,
yeah.
and it just
Now,
annoys
if
me.
you're just going to play by post, then does any of the map matter?
Not really.
It's just a group chat, basically.
Yeah.
If you can fast, like I guess in Roll20 though, you have to have a map, don't you? Like there's got to be something that populates that space.
Probably.
Yeah, if you have your pogs out and that sort of thing.
In EverQuest, players would go online and they would just face a wall and then just go into chat mode with each other and not go on any quests.
Oh, okay.
That's what this reminds me of. They just want to sell stuff to each other.
Yeah.
Or talk about what's selling on eBay or not.
Or is that their health above their tokens? 4 of 11, 2 of 17, 0 of 13. Like, is
Yeah, I
someone
believe
dead
so.
there? So they're dead. Like, is that?
I'm not sure. I guess, the two people in the corner, basically, in the right hand lower corner there.
Yeah.
Yeah, possibly. I'm not too sure.
Well, usually you put a red dot on somebody if they're dead.
Oh, okay. So
Really?
Flixtar is dead.
Their bodies should have been removed by now. You don't just
Yulara
leave
is dead.
Dead bodies around.
Yeah. Where did
I'm
C3
guessing.
M3 go? He's not here anymore.
Unless they're doing a red team and blue team, but I don't think they're doing that.
Oh, so I'm kind of confused. Is that row that's on the very bottom there? The entire row. Those are all the players, correct?
It's got to
Yeah,
be,
those
right?
those are the players just logged
And-
in. They're
yeah,
not,
okay,
They're not.
and-
Those aren't pogs. Those are just avatars.
Right. Okay. Well, let's.
That's why I was asking if their avatars match their pogs or not.
Yeah. It's hard to.
Where's Melnock? I don't
'Cause
see
some-
him. Oh, no,
some people-
Melnock's got a totally different. He's Zayat Cole, otherwise known as Melnock.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Their login name's different from their character name.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if they're playing on their phone, just doing play by post, then they're not going to have an avatar anywhere.
Oh.
They're
Don't
just
use
phoning in their
VTTs. Like, there's no point.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to use a VTT, use it minimalistically. Like,
Yeah.
if you honestly need it to be a group die rolling thing where you can see everybody's die rolls, cool. I mean, that'll work for that. Yeah.
Well, what
So,
if you're a referee of a game and you're having fun and you're using a VTT and you just want to show it off to your friends live? This is how you do VTT. This is how I do it. If you want to be in my game, this is how I do my game. But the rest of the players they don't even know they're live.
No.
They're just texting on a phone or voicemailing something in.
yeah, it seems to be what it's like.
Well, let's see where this goes. But I like, okay, there was a time skip there, and then the game master, she had to ask them, "Are you still in the same?" Because
We'll see if I'm on that spot again here.
The spaceport that you know of, is there anything, any stops, anything you're planning?
Nothing I can think of.
Did
So
they
basically,
sleep?
we're going out to ride.
Did they
What's that?
wake up? Are they waking up? Did they sleep or something? Or
yeah,
They said-
she's like the
this is
next day.
This is the next day, right?
This is the next
The
day.
next day, yeah.
Or
This
the
is
And
next-
she's
the next
asking for their
working
plans.
day.
the hand wavium.
They're asking for plans, it sounds like. And the first guy's like, I don't know.
They show up for work and they're in the exact same spots they were when they went home.
I guess.
Ironfield.
Yep, that's a great example. As you know, you get closer, you see there's a laser fence, which by the way is not an actual laser beam fence. It's just a bunch of poles that when you break through the fence, they know you've broken through. It's basically the laser door at Circle K.
Circle K. Is this not Star Wars?
Well, I thought you'd get a kick out of that. Yeah, I'm not too sure. And it sounds like they're describing something like that's not in this vicinity at
So
all.
this is, she's describing something that's not on this map. So we can just ignore this
Assume so. I
Okay.
assume so.
map. Okay.
That's what it sounds like. like I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure whether or not these guys know as well. So let's continue.
So
It's
you
that
guys,
time to ding dong.
you guys come up
Ding dong,
and you
bitch.
totally see there's a little kiosk there on the side of the road with the whole
Poor
arm bars
Crispy.
that go down that your hover vehicle can.
I'm sorry I'm causing such pain. I can see it in your eyes.
This is frustrating because I've done
Okay,
this. I know what
Crispy.
this is like.
Yeah.
Crispy, be honest though. When was the last time you were able to watch this and just enjoy it and not notice any flaws? Was that
No,
ever a thing?
I don't know if I never
10
got
years
into
ago.
watching people play because to me it
You
was
never
like
did?
no.
No.
No,
I've
and
been
then I would watch
I've been
some.
watching ever since YouTube. I've been watching people play.
No, I haven't been watching. Then I stumbled across your channel, and then for sure I wasn't watching it.
I remember. You're like, oh no.
Yeah.
You know what?
How
When
do
you
I
say
unsee this?
when you say that, Shonner, I looked back at my old sessions and I was like, this is okay. This is okay. You know, when I was looking at my 2D game style using
Rick, how long ago, Rick, would you have watched this video here and thought, hey, this is pretty cool? They're using Roll20 and they've got...
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay.
Hey,
Maybe
about-
3 years for me.
yeah, maybe 3 years ago. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I started
for
questioning
me-
things. Yeah.
For me, this would have... Video conferencing, this kind of stuff, for me, back in 83, I would have thought, this is garbage. I'm not ever doing this.
You'll never do that.
No.
Right.
All right. I got time for one more clip, and I got
Okay. Okay. Let's go ahead and move her up a little bit further here.
And if any of these people that have recorded this, there's a different way of playing, you should try it. Just try it. You may be amazed at what
Yes.
happens.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, you
Closer
stay,
to
do
the
whatever you
actual-
want to do, but try it. Try something new.
I don't think this is even 1D.
Sure.
I think looting and loading is the better choice then.
Yep.
Okay, so you'll pick the spot that's clearly designated Spaceport 1. You know, so it's basically only like a 30-foot walk from the vehicle to get to the entrance to the spaceport.
Mhm.
And you guys all piling out? Anybody looking around? Anything in your... Any of your
So you've
particular-
played this kind of game before.
far.
You guys, I know, I've
We
been in
have.
games like this. I know you guys have.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
the players are given minis. Here's your mini.
Yep.
And you put it in the center of the table,
Yep.
and then they don't move for the rest of the game.
That's right.
Yeah.
They're just left there
Yep.
because everyone's the game's moving forward, and no one's bothering to update where the minis or what the train looks like.
Absolutely.
Okay, because that's what
So
they're
that-
doing here.
Yeah, this is what you're seeing on the virtual tabletop. I just think it's interesting that she's reaching to as a game master, reaching out to the players to find out what the things are, whether or not they disembarked, whether or not they're looking around.
Yeah.
She's dropping hints, that they should maybe be doing something.
And they're a
And,
group. They're a committee deciding on what to do, and they're connected by the hip.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, a lot of people would be seeing this now and going, "Oh yeah, we're hating on this and stuff," but when you've decided to play 3D and 4D, you start to realize that there's such a mind switch that goes on in your head, and suddenly you don't want to play this way anymore. And there's a reason, because what you've experienced in a 3D or 4D game is something unlike what you've experienced before. You'd have to, I guess you could watch a video of ours and see it in action and enjoy it for what it is that way. But when you are the player or the game master in that, it's so much involved, so much, spontaneity, and you're really, you're working your mental, muscles, You know, you're developing them. You're getting better and better as you're continually playing with your group in this 3D 4D style. It just seems to be you don't realize it until you've kind of reached that plateau, and I don't know. I guess maybe I'm mumbling on too long, but it just seems to be you understand it, you kind of grok the whole thing, and when looking back, you don't want to go back to it, kind of idea.
Remember in the 90s at the mall, they had the art galleries, right? And they'd have these
Right.
really weird psychedelic pictures, and you had to stare at them.
Oh, to see it in 3D?
Right, yes.
And when you got it, when your eyes finally saw it, you're like, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa. And you're like dodging. You're thinking, oh, they're going to hit me.
I
or
remember
something.
those. Yeah.
It's like that. But
Yeah.
you don't snap out of it. You're still stuck in there.
I mean, when you're still in that 1D, 2D mindset, you think this is fine. This is great. You know what you're seeing here on this demonstration video of Star Wars in Fantasy Flight version.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think it's great. You think it's okay, but like I say, when you finally see it, you finally experience it with a group of guys, and it's like, wow, this is you don't want to go back to this. It's just the way it is.
I've never seen this game played in 3D. I've only seen Star Wars played in 1D or 2D.
I'm not a huge fan of this dice mechanic they're using. I'd rather you play D6 Star Wars or something like that. What is that called? West End Games, the D6.
Yeah. West End.
I think you could probably role play in that, but this is not like Rick was saying. They obviously are finding players that want this, but I just feel like, if you could just get a taste of something a little different, you might realize that there's so much more that you can get out of games than this. This is not it. I don't understand now. I'll have to think about this some more, because I was originally attracted to the game for some reason, but when I watch these game sessions, I don't know why I would ever be attracted to this. Like, this is not
the Star Wars with these kind of dice, you mean?
Well, no, or just this VTT style of,
okay.
Just in general, not even the setting or the system, just these types of games. I don't think they bring in people that are excited to stay in the hobby. I think they'll come in, they'll play a few sessions, and then the group dissolves.
It's the stragglers.
Yeah.
When Walmart's closing for the day, they want the customers out of the store so they can lock up the place and count the money. The people that end up in these games are the stragglers.
Yeah, I think so.
They're still in the clearance section of the store looking for crap.
But it's most games are like this, and it's not.
Go to Walmart. That's where most people shop.
Well, I've stick my head into the local gaming store, and you can hear the same thing. You can just hear the same thing going on. Like, what is going on with this?
Yeah,
But
tomorrow is D&D night at one of the game stores I'm going to go to, and just during dinner I'll just listen and
just
see.
listen. It'll be all second person. Just you do this, you do that.
Yeah, and they have 14 players at one table, so I know it's going to be a mess.
Mm-hmm.
That's too many players.
Yeah, that's for sure. Anyway, I gotta go, but thank you very much,
All
Rick,
right,
for showing me this game.
for sharing the pain.
It's not. I'm not interested in this kind of game.
This is the worst.
He has to tap out.
I had to tap out.
This is worse than Derek's stuff.
I just feel bad because I don't think these potential hobbyists I don't think they're gonna stay with it. I don't.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna just get tired of it or just burn out or whatnot.
It's just an online meeting chat group.
It's not even a really good miniatures game. Like you can go buy a good miniatures game Rick's got a bunch of them on his shelf. I've seen him.
That's right.
In this.
Just get
Those
a
are
board
good
game.
miniature games. Why don't you just play that?
Just play board games.
That's what. Yeah.
Play
Yeah.
Twilight Imperium.
That's great. There's
Oh,
lots
for
of
sure.
great games. I know. I just don't understand. I don't understand the attraction. I'll leave it to you, fine gentlemen, to figure out why
Alrighty,
it is
thanks.
that people are
Thank-
still doing this.
thanks for
I'll
joining
catch you
us,
guys
Chris.
later. Thanks.
Crispy.
Bye.
Maybe the players are trying to invent a game of their own with their friends, but they're just phoning in their turns. The ones that are talking.
Yeah, yeah, and touching on that, because I did play in a lot of virtual tabletops in Fantasy Grounds for a long time there. Basically from 2008 onwards, I was playing some consistent games there with a group of guys, but
Online?
online, yes, yeah,
Fantasy Grounds?
Fantasy Grounds.
Okay,
Yeah, the
what
same.
game are you playing?
It was Castles and Crusades.
I was in that game. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, but
How many
see,
players?
there was Darren. There was he called himself Dennis. Dennis was the other guy, and then Howard was the third guy that we had. And hey guys, if you're out there, and it was very 2D, very 2D. And I did try to play up, using characterizations of myself as a character, as a player, but it didn't really work for them, so to speak.
Well,
so
how long did the players stick with it?
this? We did about 3 different types of campaigns, and they didn't last very long. A couple of them lasted for maybe about between 6 to 9 sessions, basically, and then one was kind of cut short because Dennis went ahead and lost all the information for the virtual tabletop, and it just vanished, and he didn't have a backup. So they were rather kind of shortish games, but the sessions we had were about 2 hours each on a Sunday night, as I recall. And it was very much kind of like this. It was beer and pretzels kind of thing. We were just joking around for a bit, and doing the laughing at the latest joke kind of thing. But none of these, I don't think any of these guys play anymore. I've reached out to them in the recent couple months, and they've just been kind of busy doing their own things,
All they hear is, "I'm getting the band back together again."
Yeah,
but they think they're gonna be playing it this way still.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I haven't coaxed them into trying 3 or 4D, but
were they role players back then, or were they just board gamers?
No, they were just like I was, being 2D, still trying to give the players a little bit more agency. However, the game master always moved you around and everything, so it was
because I look for players I used to know that remembered when they first started how the advertisements would all say, "You can you're limited only by your imagination," or
right.
you can make any character you want to be. That's how GURPS was advertised,
right?
And then you get disillusioned. You're like, "Oh man, this game sucks."
Well, yeah, because
there's people still around that still remember how they originally thought it was going to go from reading the advertisements on the back of the box and stuff.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know, what was I gonna think? I mean, yeah, you have these expectations of how you want the session to go, how you want your character to be portrayed, and then of course all the die rolls and everything go all askew throughout the game. So you never get to play the hero if you want to play the hero.
I do
know.
this and I kill the thing. Oh, let's roll and see if you do that.
Yeah,
or not.
yeah, and it
Well,
becomes a
Well, actually, you do the. Everything's a retcon. Every turn is a retcon.
yeah, yeah. That tends to be how it happens, or it just you almost get defeated and give up
Yeah,
because
when me and Samuel G would play, we would narrate up to the point where we actually do the kill.
right,
And like everyone kind of freezes, and then we roll dice, and then we continue with either piercing the armor or the bouncing off the armor.
right.
It was kind of cool. Everyone's like, and freeze, and then we roll dice real quick because we were doing combat all at the same time.
Right, right. How did you guys do the combat? Did you guys do each person doing just the one turn, one action thing, or did you give everybody kind of leniency to do maybe a couple of actions or something like that?
No, it was just one guy says I grab his throat and squeeze really hard, and that's his turn. And then
Cool.
someone else says
Cool.
I try to pull the gun out of his hand, something like that. And then another guy says I'm swinging a baseball bat at his face. Like 3 guys piling up on one dude.
Yeah, yeah. You could imagine, if they do if they roll really badly, a mishap could be.
So everyone says their turn at once, and then everyone does their rolls at once.
Yeah,
I think whoever said their turn first gets to say what their roll was first.
Yeah, that's one of the things I think that we're going to be probably talking about tomorrow is how we can, cinch that up a little bit more in our own games. Of course, our own games being not entirely 100%, awesome, perfect, but we do get some pretty cool things happening in our games.
When I played GURPS a long time ago, that same scene would be one guy saying, I grab his neck, and then he rolls to see if he grabs the guy's neck. Then the other guy rolls to see if he resists or gets out of the way or dodges or parries or whatever. And then the next person's like, well, okay, well, I'm gonna try to stab him or whatever. And then that person would roll, and then the other guy would roll to see if he dodges the knife or whatever. And then someone says, I'm going to swing at his face with my baseball bat. And then I'm trying to think how we used to, I guess that's how we used to all talk back then. I'm going to try. I'm going to do it. I'm doing it. You say everything except for actually killing somebody or hitting somebody, because you don't know until you roll the dice.
Right.
But we would roll each person would roll after they say something, and then the person being attacked, they would roll to defend against each of the attacks. And it just bogged down. It took the combat just took longer to do.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I could imagine. And when you guys did that, was it wasn't everybody said their action and then everybody rolled the dice. It was like one person did their action, rolled the dice. Next person did their action, rolled the dice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it tended to be quite extensive in the Castle Sleep Crusades, the old games that I played. That was what happened. I still tend to do that quite a bit. So that's one thing that I'm trying to work on myself is to work on the, everybody says what they're doing, then roll, and then we can go ahead come up with the
because that way it's still fresh in my mind. At least if I say what I'm doing, someone says what they're doing, and then we all roll.
Yeah.
It's still fresh in my mind. But if let's say the fourth person is making a roll, I don't remember what the first person was even doing. In the
yeah. No, that's my problem. By the time I get to that, if it's too large of the group, yeah, definitely I have a hard time trying to remember what the first guy was up to.
Yeah, because if I'm the NPC getting beat up on, I need to remember where everyone is, what they're doing at once. My character, they worry about their own die rolls, and then they continue. I guess in the next round, I suppose they all say what the results were.
Right.
I totally squeezed the guy's neck, and the guy's like, I totally smashed his face in with the baseball bat. And then the guy says, I stabbed him in the heart.
Gotcha.
Whatever. And my guy's just taking it. He's just taking it. I don't roll. I'm not doing any rolls for this stuff.
Holy smokes, we got all kinds of things going on in our chat here. We got
Chat.
this.
What is this chat?
What is this chat you speak of?
I don't know who John B is.
I have no idea either. Just go ahead and let's put that for a second. Straight about your psychic girlfriend. Did you ever mention that in an actual like live stream that we've done?
Lots of times. Yeah. Many times. So this person, if they heard about the story, they would have also heard how it ended. Because I never mention the story and then not say how it ends.
Right.
Could be a troll.
Something that maybe you should go back to one of them videos that you did and retouch up on it. Not being mean or anything. Just you usually come up with the conclusion of that one whenever you say it. We got Dice Tales, and we have Phil in there, Phil the Vil himself. We had just come from me and Crispy had just come from a where we call it a 4D tweaker, where we go over our last session and talk about the things we could do better. Because we're just as hard on ourselves, as we are on other people on maybe trying to convince them, hey, maybe you should try something different. I mean, I've tried it with Derek with no everything Derek with no avail. So, yeah, what setting do you?
It's weird. He's parallel. He's living a parallel life with you. He's doing the internet. He's got the YouTube.
Yeah.
He knows about computers. He paints minis.
Right.
Playing the Traveler thing.
He's
in a different reality than you are.
Yeah.
Is all.
When he's painting minis, I'm like in there saying, hey, that's cool. What what scale is this one at? And he'll perk up, or there's nothing between us mean wise or anything. I'm just trying to convince him, hey, maybe you should try something a little different, but he's not biting.
I'll talk to him if he's doing Star Citizen stuff.
Yeah.
But then he tries
Call of Cthulhu.
Call of Cthulhu.
That's always a good one. I remember playing the old one, but I do have the new books, so I'm going to go ahead and see about trying to do some of that later on. Yeah.
So Rick, what is your favorite Call of Cthulhu that isn't Call of Cthulhu? Like you saw something on a TV or in a movie that was based on H.P. Lovecraft, and you're like, wow, that's cool.
Almost everything is based on H.P. Lovecraft. I mean, he had ghouls and all kind. I think.
But what if you didn't know? What if you didn't know about H.P. Lovecraft and you were a kid and you thought, wow.
Oh man, I mean the Mountains of Madness was one of my favorite novels. I read it like long time ago. I do have an Audible. I got to revisit that one again to see if it holds up to my childhood memories of it. But like as a movie that had H.P. Lovecraftian kind of stuff to it. I don't know. A favorite movie. A favorite. Ooh.
Or the one that you like Gumby. When I was watching Gumby once.
Right?
And Gumby gets eaten by this weird dude who's made of clay. He's a cowboy. Because Gumby had an ice cream in his hand, and the monster wanted the ice cream, so it ate. Or the one where Gumby is inside of a stove.
Okay. Man, I can't remember half the Gumbies. I don't know how you can remember the Gumby show.
The rising doe is trying to murder him in the stove.
Oh my gosh.
And he's rolling. Or the one where Gumby's on the moon freezing to death and his dad has to come rescue him.
Okay, I think I remember that one.
Yeah, his dad gets on the fire truck and makes the ladder thing go up so he can reach the moon. And his dad's wearing a ski Eskimo jacket thing.
Right.
So he can survive the cold moon. They don't explain how. I don't remember how Gumby ended up on the moon.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely can't remember.
But all of that stuff comes from H.P. Lovecraft.
I mean,
the
episode
was Space 1999 had the tentacle monster.
Yeah. That thing, it was kind of like, wah, you know, with the wiggly fingers and wah. Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
They would try to shoot it with their laser, but their minds would get taken over, and they'd end up getting sucked into it. That freaked me out as a kid.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that I kind of reminisce and kind of whenever I see the scene, it does kind of remind me of H.P. Lovecraft kind of stuff. Was the scene of the when those two guys in the morgue open up the Easter egg, from Night of the Return of the Living Dead, or is that Night of the Return of the Living Dead? I can't remember the name of it. It was
Return. I think, is that the one where they're in a military complex?
It was
and the girl's turning into a zombie.
Yeah. That's part of it. She's like some goth chick.
Yeah. I think that's Return of the Dead. Return of the Night of the Dead.
But the creature down there, that just totally gets me to that, some of those H.P. Lovecraft stories about the ghouls, and that just, kind of, ooh.
You ever see Sisters? I think that was a Brian De Palma film.
No.
It's about these Siamese twins. They were separated when they were babies, but now they're grown up. And some scientist, doctor, crazy person wants to sew them back together again.
What? What are you talking about?
Margot Kidder, I think, was in that one. Then she did Superman Got Famous.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, she was in a lot of weird kind of movies, but like it was all Canadian movies that were weird.
You ever see Basket Case?
Yeah.
That's an HP thing. You ever see Creature from the Black Lagoon?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was one of my favorites when I was young. Black and white TV and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Godzilla, of course.
Yeah. Now, why did we get onto the subject of H.P. Lovecraft?
Because Phil the Thrill.
Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You have filled the thrill, haven't you?
Yes.
Or you have.
I've filled the Ville as well too.
Have you thrilled the Ville? Have you thrilled the Phil? I do not think
let's
you
see.
Have thrilled the Phil.
Have I thrilled him yet? Not yet. He only did a practice with me.
He was in that last live stream you guys were in together. He was perfect. He was in character the whole time. He was role-playing a frustrated player who had role-played a priest who was trying to kill everybody. It was very cool.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was fantastic in that. He got underneath our skin and everything. It was just like, oh, this is so good. Like we weren't. Like, it was weird. It wasn't like we knew what he was doing. It wasn't like he was pissing us off or anything. It was just I was just in my glory, just laughing to myself as Phil was concocting these, amazing counterpoints to whenever somebody said something. like when we were in the cave section, and and Crispy's character was calling out and saying, "Yeah, we're just gonna take the daughter out. We're just taking it," and then Phil would say something, "Yes, to burn her," you know, like we're trying to calm things down, and then Phil's like it was just like some of the best stuff. It was just so hilarious, and you know, when you're in that situation, you're just laughing inside. You're trying not to be you know, laughing in the session, of course, you know.
Yeah, I have
Trying
a
to
hard
still
time.
be.
I'll laugh in sessions. I have
Yeah.
to practice not doing that. I have to have a cold heart.
It's like you have to cover your mouth and you'll chuckle to yourself. But yeah, like he says,
In a one shot though, you can get away with doing that because you might get murdered.
oh yeah, I mean, in that
So
I didn't have any idea of how that was ever gonna end, you know, but it ended so well. It was crazy. It was great. That finale was fantastic. Um, yeah, yeah, his character was truly awful. It was great. It was a great awful though.
I give his performance an 87 out of 100.
Oh, nice, nice.
But
You roll dice in order to determine our
a
fate.
98 out of 100.
Beauty. It was. I would say that was pretty darn perfect for a character that was portraying his convictions as a priest, and he just wanted to make a point of it, you know. You know that
And
his might was right, you know.
He I don't know if his character if his character was obsessed or if the player was, but I was programming in Python while listening to you guys, trying to fix logic bugs in a program. And I kept hearing something about the priest not having very good stealth, yet the priest is trying to be stealthy anyway.
Yes, yeah.
Like, I will be stealthy. I will be doing the stealth right now. And he was failing all of his stealth rolls. Even Crispy's character wakes up. Who's out there? Who's outside there doing something by the house? You know, the whole town goes out to see what the priest is doing.
Yeah. It wasn't quite that bad, but yeah, it was enough to wake up everybody. That's the thing. You don't get that. You don't get any of that in the 2D sessions, you know. It's like in a 2D session it'd be all convoluted. People would be you know, talking about different things, and yeah, it's just so different when you're playing like a full on role play that I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but it's so much better.
And I like that we didn't know the motive for the priest.
Yeah.
We didn't know his background. We didn't know his history.
Yeah.
We
And
didn't know he was a bad guy.
he didn't do the exposition that I'm doing this because this and this and that, you know,
Yeah,
like
he's
hear
not
about-
me. He's not me doing spoilers. My character's this in real life.
But you know, it was great. It was just fun, and everybody, I had my own particular take, you know, as my character in there, and same thing with Crispy's game with the gangsters and everything. I mean, I thought there was going to be more of me punching people and knocking them out and all that kind of stuff, but it never actually occurred. But that was fine because,
Well, how much punching is really in a 70s mafia?
yeah, I mean, I did the heavy thing a few times. You know, I was like, hey, you know, I'd you know, muscle in on guys and do the intimidation pretty easily. But
Usually it's the guy hitting his wife or It's the Sunny character, I guess, from Godfather.
Yeah, you get fed up with him, and you're like,
the guy.
Yeah.
But not everyone's going to be fighting all the time.
Exactly. I mean, I was totally okay with not having those moments. I did kind of talk to Crispy before that, and I had we all had like a little secret that we all kind of brought up for Crispy, but we didn't share with anybody. And mine was, I knew I was supposed to go after Doc, the NPC.
Yeah.
And he was on my hit list. It was kind of like a hush hush kind of thing to make it look like an accident kind of thing. But the way the session went, first off, somebody mentioned Marcel instead of Doc, so Marcel ended up being part of the group instead of Doc. So that changed the whole dynamic of the thing. And then of course I did introduce Doc as being the character. I introduced him back in by calling him up and getting him to be part of the cleanup crew. I had no idea he was cleanup crew or anything. That was totally made up on the spur of the moment. And so I just used my 4D and said that's what we're doing. Bringing him in. We got cleanup to do, right? And Crispy, to all his credit, went along with it. All good. Everything's cool with that. And then he added that twist in there where Doc was doing something, in the background, making his own money off of the cartel of Hispanics, in New York.
Yeah,
And
I missed
that worked
part.
in.
I missed that part, but I remember seeing in comments later people commenting on that bastard. when they found out that, they're like, "No, Doc, no."
Yeah.
So I knew Doc did something that pissed off some people.
Yeah. And unfortunately, we did not record our initial practice, which had Doc, all the characters, where we were feeling out how we were going to play these guys, because we do a practice session, and just to work out all the bugs, on the mechanics and how we're going to play our characters and to get the cadence going on. And Crispy, who didn't have any 4D players to play with, this was his first time to have full on 4D players playing with him. And it was such an awesome session. I totally wish we could have gone back in time. Well, that was basically his second time, because when we did the practice, it kind of keyed him in on how we would react, or how we would act, and how he would react, because you don't know how this is going to go until it's showtime. You're playing the game, and if you've never practiced it, I guess that could be kind of like a jarring kind of situation.
In my brain, I've known you for a while, and so in my brain it says, it gets sloppy and says, "Oh, Rick's always been a 4D player since I knew him."
Hell no.
Since the day I met Crispy, he's been a 4D player.
Yeah.
That's how I'll remember this stuff, because I try not to remember the cringe that I saw on videos in the past. And I didn't go after your videos so much on purpose, because you would say, you're in trouble and you're trying to improve. You're trying to get better. So I didn't come after you full on Shonner mode on your live streams that you would do. Back when you were doing the VTT and stuff.
Yeah. I did ask you later on, you and Abe and everybody, to kind of chime in and help me out.
If you asked, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll unleash.
But that was good. It was a good wake up call, and it got me to kind of like, okay, I gotta start thinking this way instead, and stop stop trying to, chide my players along and stuff like that. That was my main problem, was worrying about getting my players pissed off at me or something like that. They would get mad, and they would, you kind of have those, self doubts inside, and once I got over past that, and the players were like, yeah, okay, we're doing this, and it started getting easier and easier and easier, and then I had kind of like a breakthrough, and it went on from there. So it was cool, but it took you guys to go ahead and say stuff, to finally, wake me out of the coma I was in, and started to wake up. Oh, okay, listen. Okay, we're gonna do this, actual role play now. And
Yeah.
I started, working on curbing back a lot of stuff, and started working on things one at a time, and then finally, yeah, okay. But I think once I had a bunch of players that were willing to do, 3D full on role play, it became so much easier. Where before I would have a couple of players in there that were kind of like, still in their kind of 2D ways. So finally
Mother
having,
may I?
finally having some players there that knew what was happening, and could work with me, and meet me halfways, instead of me going halfways and then trying to pull them in, which is a bad thing. Once I got that started going, it was like, oh, this is way easier. And then I started to like actually not do any prep at all. I already had, how the NPCs were going to act. And that was it. That's all I needed to know. My NPCs. And that was it.
Yeah,
Boom,
I was going
we
through
just-
when I got this new computer, I was backing up my old computer and I was looking for my prep, all my prep notes for games I've run in the past.
Right.
And I'm like, that's weird. I don't have any, after 2014, I don't have any prep folders. I wonder where they all are. And then I realized I didn't do prep since 2014.
Right.
My prep is all, 1999 to 2006, and then it kind of dwindles off. Because as soon as I met Same Old G on YouTube, we were doing live streams together talking about this stuff. Both of us just let go of all the utensils, all the tools, all the tricks of the trick. We got rid of all that stuff, and neither one of us prep at all about anything. And I wish I had kept my YouTube channel that had all those old crummy videos of me, so I can go back now and just pick myself apart. All I have is just that one video I still have of me running a solo game for the computer.
Right.
And if you watch that, I'm doing the you hear this, you see this.
Yeah.
But that was 8 years ago. So 8 years ago, I was still doing the you. In fact, I was still doing the you until about a year ago.
Oh.
The second person thing.
Right.
It didn't really bother me until about, I don't know, May of last year.
What set you off to correct that? What was it?
I probably writing that book of mine.
Oh, okay.
I was coming out with I was thinking of making a new edition. It was like 4th edition or 3rd edition. I thought I'm going to make a new edition. And that was around the time that Abe blew up and went crazy.
Right.
And that's where I'm like, hey, I'm onto something here, because he does the second person, telling basically the Disneyland storyteller. And I wanted to avoid doing that at all costs.
Huh.
He got mad, and then it reminded me of him getting mad in the Brigade. So it was like, okay, so he hasn't changed at all. Old stuff got
Yeah.
He got reminded of old drama.
Gotcha.
He took
Well,
his
I mean-
football and went home.
he did me he had me play in his games, which helped me a lot. You know, it did definitely kind of shore up a few, you know, things that I had that I needed to fix. So playing in his
Yeah,
games
yeah.
was a good exercise in kind of refining my you know, style of playing. I mean, yeah, I'll use a voice or something, but for me, if I use a voice, you can tell when I'm when I'm enunciating as the character. Whereas if I'm describing something, I won't use my voice. I will just talk as myself and say, I walk over to the table and I grab the cup and I lift it to my lips and chug it back, you know. And then if I say something, well, then I use a little bit of a voice on there, some sort of an accent or something. You know, I'm so used to, you know, talking to people in other languages, so you know, it's not too hard to go ahead and fake something like that. You know,
Yeah.
yeah. So, um, but that's how I define things in my mind as a player. You know, I speak as a character, or I talk as when I describe myself doing something as myself. You know, I'm doing this thing. So for me, it helps me. I know not everybody wants to do voices or anything like that. It can be works for me. You know, as I don't require that of my players, of course. You know, they just do whatever seems more natural to them. You know.
Yeah. And I'm starting to move towards more dialogue. Instead of describing what I'm doing, I'll say in dialogue.
Yeah.
Like,
I've
Rick, I'm out of here. I don't know about you, but this place gives me the creeps. I'm just, you know, instead of saying I open up the door and walk outside and then slam the door behind me, you'll have a turn, and then my next turn would be something like you'll know where I'm at still, probably in the room somewhere. But I don't have to say I open up the door, go outside, close the door. Just in dialogue, I can just say I'm heading out to the car. I'll be outside in the car waiting for you if you decide to change your mind. Because maybe your character decides to stay behind or
stick
something.
around. Yeah.
Because you know you're married. I'm not.
So hold
married.
on, I gotta make a phone call here. You know. Yeah.
You know, you have like 3-minute warning, right? You know, the nuke's coming, the shockwaves, the something's already hit Japan, and that shockwave is coming up around the Earth. It's
Right.
It's gonna wipe us all out. I have a bunker. You don't. You're debating if you're gonna stay and let the shockwave get you. You have 3 minutes to decide. As meteorites and crap and asteroid crap are hitting the planet. From the other side of the planet.
Sounds like it's gonna be a lose no matter what. Yeah, we survived for
I have
how
secret.
long?
I have a secret. I know
Uh-oh.
Solaris. I know Solaris.
Oh my god. Oh god.
Solaris will make our world in whatever we imagine it to be. Solaris will protect us.
And he's in your suitcase now.
I don't know. How does that work?
No!
I've been watching conspiracy theories on that film. You know what I've heard?
What?
He never went to the planet. He never went to the space station.
Huh.
It was
Up to-
all it was a fake version of him on the station that the planet made up. So when you remember the end of that movie?
No, I have to rewatch it in order to you know, like, yeah, I'll have to, but I'll keep that in mind the next time I watch it.
So now I
for
have
sure.
to watch that movie again to see, because
Right.
they fast travel and you don't actually see him land on the space station with his little shuttle pod. He's just there one day.
Right.
And it's like, huh. And then at the end of the movie, They never actually show him go to the planet. So it's like, huh. And it's like, this is the first time I'm hearing this. That movie's been out for 50 something years. This is the first time I'm hearing these alternate ending story ideas for the movie. It's like, what? And they're just as cool as what I thought when I saw the movie. So it's always neat to see another interpretation.
Hugh Jackman floating around in space in a tree. Wasn't
No,
Was that The Mirror or something like that? I'm not sure.
I don't
Can't
know
remember.
what that is.
There was so many Hugh Jackman movies that came out. Like one, they were kind of intermixed between what's his name, the guy who does Batman, and Equilibrium.
Oh, Christian Bale.
Yeah, Christian Bale. There's a whole bunch of movies that came out between him and Christian Bale that me and my wife had watched. So many of these crazy movies that I remember one with, and I can't remember if it was Hugh Jackman.
With Tesla?
Well, there was one with Tesla. Yeah, that one.
And all those hats laying on the ground.
Yeah. So he was copying himself and yeah. But there was another one where I think he was like seeking out the tree of life or something like that. It was someplace in Mexico, and it was a really weird, convoluted kind of movie. It was really strange.
Is that The Fountain or something?
The Fountain? Maybe it was maybe it was The Fountain. The Prestige was the one where he was talking to Tesla, wasn't it?
It's been a while since I've seen a Hugh Jackman movie.
Yeah.
I think Prestige is the last one I've seen.
But yeah, there's you get so old that you can't remember all the.
I want to say
movies
the tree is the foundation or something, or the fountain of youth. I never saw that movie, but I have it on DVD. Been waiting for 10 years for me to watch it. Maybe longer.
Well, yeah, you said the fountain. The fountain is correct. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The Fountain.
I guessed without seeing the movie. I guessed what it was.
Yeah. No, I'll have to definitely go back and watch Solaris again. It's been a while. That was the old one, the one from the 70s, correct?
Yeah. Don't watch the one with
Clooney.
Don't watch that one. Don't watch the Clooney one. You wish you died or something.
I think I've seen the one with Clooney, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure my wife put me through that.
That was from 2002.
Yeah, that was quite a while ago. 2002. Yeah, there's a lot of movies I seen at that time. My wife had a daycare, so it was like I come home from work and we just chill and watch movies all the time.
So what are you drinking?
A-Dub. No caffeine.
Really?
Yep.
I used to go there when I was a kid, and the
pure
girls
cane
would come
sugar.
out. The girls would come out with their roller skates on.
I remember that as well. We did have a back in Vernon. We had a rather large drive-through. I think there was about 4, 5, 6, about six stalls per side. So it'd be about a dozen cars, all kind of lined up. I remember that. And then they would have the little trays with the little hooks.
Yeah.
And hooks out onto your window. And then I recall they stopped having the girls on roller skates first, and then they shut down the drive-through after that.
Yeah, all of them turned into like lawyer offices where I live. The buildings are still there, and the cars still park around the whole building.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the one in Vernon, it did stay like that for a while, and I believe it turned into a car lot after that. So they ended up parking the cars kind of, out from the middle, and
those things were built near car lots too.
Yeah.
Because, that was the thing. You got in your car and you would drive and get a hot dog and a burger and ice cream.
Oh yeah, yeah. You could park in with the rest of the cars, or you could actually park on the sides
Yeah.
and yeah, get service that way. But
I mean, they have Sonic, but no one goes to Sonic because the food is so terrible.
you guys don't have A&Ws down there?
No,
They're just gone?
they're all gone.
Oh man, they're up here.
That's
we
why I was
still have
asking you what that was. You can't even find A&W cans.
Yeah.
They're hard to find.
Oh really?
Yeah. Maybe Walmart has them, but that's about it.
Oh, might have to send you a case one day.
It's
Those-
what's the other brand that people drink for root beer? Barges or something.
There's Barks. There's Mug. We have Mug.
That's the one. Yeah, Mug around here. Mug is everywhere around here.
Okay. No, we have Mug up here, and then you got different types of Orange Crush up here as well.
Yeah, but A&W was the one that made the best vanilla floats. Ice cream floats.
Yeah, yeah.
Do not use Pepsi.
No, that's kind of you don't use Pepsi or Coke or anything for a root beer float. That's for
But
sure.
Mug does not work with root beer floats for some reason. I don't know why, but the A&W one does.
Yeah, they kind of go. Let's see, the Mug and all those other brands. They tend to make the foam go all kind of chunky.
Yeah,
Kind of weird
Yeah.
and chunky.
yeah,
It kind of
You're-
gets a kind of a weird skim on it that kind of dries. Kind of like
yeah.
it's weird.
You're messing with alchemy at that point.
Yeah, and if you use A&W, it turns out nice and kind of like a creamy foam. It's not. It's kind of billowy. It's not like
It's got
that
the
foam.
right amount of carbonization and sugar,
Yeah, yeah.
and not concentrated aspartame or
Well,
whatever.
yeah. It's not using. It's not using that what's it called, hydrogenated whatever, some sort of sugar that they create in a syrup,
Corn, yeah,
corn syrup
starch,
or something
corn
like that.
syrup. The thing
This
that
stuff
makes
is-
people fat.
Yeah, this stuff is let's see. Yes,
You
caramel and what does it say on here? Yeah, they just use a cane sugar.
You ever watch on YouTube? They'll show little short home movies of kids at high schools from the 70s and the 60s, and the comments are always, "Where's all the fat people at?" There was always like one or two fat kids in the entire school.
I remember in school, like in grade school, like grade 1, 2, 3, all the kids would have their Hot Wheels, and they would be like digging all these like holes and everything. Well, the school I went to had a army base over off to the side of it, so it was like a scads of like rolling hills that was open to us to go ahead and play. And they would tell us, watch out for any kind of explosives, the blasting caps and stuff like
And the
that.
firing range.
Yeah, because it used to be used, for training, practice and stuff like that. So there was this big fence. It's kind of like a cliff, almost a clay cliff, that was about maybe about 4 feet tall before it hit a fence, and the fence kind of stuck up even higher. And we would play on that wall, and we would be like digging little tunnels and everything, and you'd have your cars zipping around in there. And we were all active. Like we would have like massive wars out in the fields too. We would have, our pretend guns and everything. We'd be like, I kill you, and then the girls would be running around with their Smarties, feeding all the guys. When you were wounded, they would give you a Smartie, and you'd be like,
What?
oh, I'm back again. Yeah, it was part of the rules, man.
What?
Yep, we had some real in-depth rules back then.
Lucky. I just remember being dead and being left behind.
Oh, that's terrible.
It's like, oh
Said
man,
Shonner, we leave Shonner behind. Yeah, nobody
Back-
likes Shonner anyways.
back then I was called Shotgun. Everyone called me Shotgun back then. Shotgun Sean.
Shotgun shot.
And yeah, it's like, oh, everyone's dead, and then someone's mom would say, "Get home for dinner." That kind of thing. It's like, oh, everyone gets up. I'm still playing dead, wondering where did everyone go. And then I hear someone yelling for me, "Get home for dinner. Go home. Get out of our yard. Go home. Game's over. We have to go home now." Whatever. Yeah, we had the GI Joes, the 12-inch GI Joes, and we would put those on the back of a bat kite.
Oh yeah.
And the kung fu grip guy, he's hanging on to that wooden dowel on the back.
Yeah.
With a parachute, and so you get the kite high enough, and then you give the string a certain jerk, and you hope the GI Joe lets go.
Let's
and
go.
And his parachute would open, and he would be like, I don't know, 300 feet high. And it's like, go get him, go chase him. Yeah, the dog, let the dog go. The dog would go running and chase it. And it's like in someone's swimming pool or on someone's roof or on a telephone wire.
Oh hell yeah.
So the GI Joes were getting assaulted.
Yeah. Yeah, we used to get a lot of kites way high up in the sky. My buddy, his dad owned the hobby shop, so he had all the cool toys. He had the Steve Austin with the roll up sleeve, and you would see the little modules that were in there. He had every kind of GI Joe, with the kung fu grip and everything too. And yeah, it was amazing. And
Evil Knievel.
Yeah, he had one of those too. Yep.
That was neat.
Yep. This guy, they had, the hobby shop had lots of the not radio control because they weren't getting into that yet, but they had the where you would stand like in the still, and you would have the line like a couple of lines going out to an airplane, which had an actual motor on it, and you would like go around in a circle, around in a circle, and you use the centrifugal force against the airplane because it was attached to the wing, and be doing that kind of thing until you became dizzy.
Run out of gas. You get dizzy or run out of gas.
One or the other.
Or it nosedived.
Yeah, and that was it. You destroyed your plane. But
I had doom buggies, and you would turn the wheel so it can go around in a circle.
Now, yeah, those started coming out later on when I was, I guess when I was more 12, 13?
79?
Yeah,
70s?
yeah, 79. Yes, 78.
The radio controlled stuff took over.
Yeah. It was just like, boom, everybody's using radio control. And I seen a lot more people out in the army, like there was still the barracks and everything out there. But there was like long stretches, like the yards that they would go ahead, like the marching areas. Those are great for having airplanes,
Oh yeah.
We
would go to a school playground, like on the weekend.
Yeah.
And nobody would bug us. I used to get the rockets, the SDs and the Century rockets, and just fire those things off.
Cool.
Make our own rockets.
But yeah, you look back at those old vintage videos, and you're like, oh yeah, those are the days. And yeah, there's not very many overweight kids in that time. I mean, there was the occasional one, but it wasn't like,
Yeah, it was like one or two.
Yeah, a
and
couple.
They would lose their fat one summer.
Oh, for sure.
And they'd show up the next week being, captain of baseball team or something. It's like, what happened?
You're Jack.
was
You
like-
were so big.
He could barely run a year ago.
Yeah.
But I guess you tease someone long enough, the parents do something about it, I guess, because the kid's tired of the kid's always crying when he comes home. They're teasing me.
Yeah, or
that-
something
some
changes. Yeah.
Some parents they think, oh, you're finished with your food, here's some more. The mom just keeps feeding the kid every time the plate's empty. It's like, oh, my kid's hungry still. I gotta make more sandwiches. I gotta make more pasta. And it's like, okay. Certain cultures, I guess.
Dice Tale says, oh yeah, he had a P-40 Warhawk like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I had either that one or a Mustang. I can't remember. Maybe my brother had something.
Yeah, my buddy played around more or less with the airplanes and stuff. My friend that started me in Dungeons and Dragons, Tim, he had the radio controlled cars, so the little dune buggies. He had an old farm where his parents owned a farm, and we would build these extravagant, ramps and jumps and all kinds of obstacle courses, out of twigs and branches and stuff, and we would cut them to a decent size, and then we'd knock them into the ground, and we'd make all these little fortifications for them to go through, and it was some crazy stuff. But yeah, we were always busy, building stuff, making things. Make your armor. We would start making pieces of armor and stuff, and bucket for the helmets and stuff. And we got real creative on some of that stuff. And then of course, we would play the Dungeons and Dragons every once in a while. His parents were Jehovah's Witnesses, so I had to sit in on a couple of their things in order for me to be accepted as one of the the kids that he could play with, kind of idea. So I'd have to go through his lesson with him on Wednesday nights.
Yeah,
which
I
was
got
the
tricked
usual.
into doing that sometimes.
Yeah.
I just want to go swimming. Oh, but that church owns the pool, so you have to listen to the Sunday school stuff if you want to go swimming there.
Oh no.
Man.
Yeah. It was quite a different time back in those days, not like it is nowadays. It's pretty
Nowadays
whack.
you don't want to swim in a public swimming pool.
Yep.
You don't know what's in
Yeah.
that water now.
Yeah, exactly. The only time I ever do go out swimming is whenever I go back to Vernon. I go into Cal Lake there, or we take the down the Shuswap River. It's a nice big wide river, and it's where all the it's where all the salmon go upstream. So it's a big
They're going
route
the
for
other
them.
direction.
Yep. And
Everyone's swimming one way.
yeah, and then we would have the I still have an inner tube that I've got it all decked out. I spray painted it yellow stripes on it, so it looks like a big black bumblebee kind of thing. So
Yeah, around here people go to the Colorado River.
oh yeah.
So I'm sure that's going to be a big deal this year because of all the rain and the snow. So no more drought in California for the next, 5 years, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's nice. We're kind of at a lack of moisture up here, so it's going to be one of our drier summers this time.
You think so?
For us, anyways. Yeah, up here it's been our winter was like nothing so far. We usually expect another couple of bursts of winter to pop up. We got nothing coming up, and our winter, from October, November, December, really mild. It was really super mild this year. We only had one burst of extreme cold, and it did go up to the minus 60s there for a little bit, and then it came back down. So it was rather short. It was pretty crispy, but it was short.
I think it's going to be snowing up until the beginning of May,
yeah.
at least in California.
I know out east in Canada, they like out towards where Max is. That's a little bit more. They've had a little bit more snow and stuff over in that area. Not not quite sure
Yeah, they get the
Max's area is big.
nor'easter. Pennsylvania yesterday, I guess Pennsylvania got like 5 inches of snow per hour.
Right. Wow.
So that was going on yesterday. But all that weird rain and crap we had here, it's now snow on the East Coast.
Huh. I heard you guys had gotten quite a bit of moisture down there. Yeah, it's been totally the opposite up here. So I don't know.
Yeah, there's certain malls you just don't go to when it rains that much because the cars are underwater in the parking lot. Like the car is parked lower than the mall. So the mall is above the river, and then the cars are parked in the river. It's like a dry river section. See you later, crap phone.
Yeah. This stream is going to be like up like forever, so you can watch it anytime you want. You know. It's not like I ever get rid of my streams.
It's the only time I can watch is live.
But yeah, getting back to what we were talking about here with the
Infiltrator could, be using.
You're just pick random parts.
Okay,
and,
here we go.
And see if there's any role play at all.
Okay.
Well, if they support the rebels, they're donating to a good cause. If not, then screw them, and we sorted their.
Exactly.
I like how that one works.
Yeah, well,
They're just rolling dice.
I think so. Okay, let's continue on here.
I was able to gain access with no problem whatsoever. So obviously I have the codes, and it does not have the wherewithal to understand, and
that sounds like
too
Teresa.
Basic.
He's too basic.
You think?
I mean, it was totally going to go off on you like, mouse droids from Mandalorian season 3. I was just going to say.
I doubt it's that same person, but
look,
it does sound like them.
Yeah, maybe we can because it was what's his name's stream, Derek's stream that she was in. So
yeah,
I'd have to
like 2 episodes she was in that one.
I'd have to cross reference it.
He might be streaming his Star Trek thing or his Traveler thing tonight or tomorrow night.
Tonight?
With 1 or 2 players left.
Let's see. Let's check this out. Have anything here? No, I see more. We've got City of Mist, session 3 from these guys. I'm not sure if it's the same players. But I am not. No, I am not seeing any Derek. I think he's more. I thought he was more Tuesday or Tuesday or Wednesday.
It's whenever no one is sick. That's been his excuse, that he was sick or players were sick.
Right.
I don't know. He just likes to read from the book all the technical stuff about the lore that doesn't matter. For what the players are currently encountering.
Yeah. But, looking back and seeing how I felt about my own games and everything, I thought they were okay. They're okay. But, and now looking back at them, I'm like, no, I can't.
I mean, were you proud of those games and you couldn't wait to show your coworkers?
I wasn't proud, but I was like, okay, I have the guys doing certain things, and they're they're trying to be their characters, I guess, and But
What did you remember most of those game sessions?
I remember, yeah, the only time I remember anything about those was the time that Fred went ahead and blew up everything with a hand grenade in one session there. And
Oh, okay.
the other session when they just totally when they were supposed to go ahead and the original premise of the whole thing was they were supposed to go rescue um, Fred's sister, and he was being shanghaied by his brother. His older brother was switching identities with him, and that was the whole thing. So that it would look like he was his brother, who is wanted by these same guys that had his sister. So his sister was located in some sort of a prison on some sort of a moon planet, and they ended up screwing up really badly along the way, and they ended up getting boarded by another ship, and it just totally went backwards from there. But I was kind of prepared for all those kind of contingencies in the virtual tabletop, so it worked out okay. You know, we still had the game going on, but there wasn't really much to remember off of them, like as far as actual like gameplay bits. Like you would never have a part where, you know, for example, like Phil doing his thing where where he's going back and forth with whatever Crispy was saying as his character. That was to me one of the more highlights of some of our game sessions. You know, some of the back and forth banter between the characters, which was just hilarious and awesome. Same with a lot of like with us playing the gangsters. There are some really choice moments in that, you know, and in our aha moments and stuff that we came up with, and everything. That's the thing when you're playing that way, the players are creating stuff, the game master's creating stuff, and the game master gets surprised by everything too. So it's always as a player, as a game master in these games, you're totally like everything's kind of laid out on the table and getting pieced together as it's as it's forming. You might, as a game master, have some sort of idea of how these NPCs are working, plotting against the characters and stuff like that, and it all becomes revealed at the end. But there's a whole lot of leeway that the players bring in themselves, which kind of make the whole thing twist and turn and become, I don't know, something like a living, breathing thing that occurred for, you know, just a few hours, and then you kind of look back at it and go, wow, that was so, you know, that was a cool session what we just did. And it was all kind of, you know, a good maybe 80% of it made up, really. You know, there's maybe about 20%, I would say, in any of those sessions where there was some sort of an idea of what you had, you know, for the NPCs. But yeah, it just goes kind of
I usually have an idea for what an NPC would be in the game
right
before the game starts.
How
I have to quickly come up.
You
I
have to-
have hiccups for some reason. I have to come up with NPCs on the fly because my idea isn't going to happen. Something else is going on in the game.
Did you ever have to change something in the NPC, like someone that they actually glommed onto? And
if they
or did-
glommed
did-
onto somebody, then I would quickly start mentally coming up with stats for the character and skills and a quick little backstory. Like, where are they from? Like, what were they doing yesterday? That kind of thing.
yeah.
Do they have a wife and kids they need to be worried about all of a sudden, or are they just the lone gunman? And then there's the other thing with the what's their secret gonna be?
Yeah.
What truths are they withholding? What unreliable narration are they going to be doing?
But of course, with Traveler, it's way easier to come up with a character like off the top of your head. You don't
Yeah.
you don't really need to go ahead and start writing down a whole bunch of stats and stuff like that or anything, like you would say for a
For GURPS.
D&D game, even a 5e D&D game. If the character is supposed to be whatever, a 10th level necromancer, I mean, you'd have to like come up with, the idea of what spells they have and all that kind of stuff, and what kind of
Feats.
gadgets they have on them, feats, yeah, all that stuff, and it just becomes a big giant sheet of paper with a whole bunch of crazy notes on it, where a Traveler character can be basically easily placed on an index card, no problem, if you
Yeah.
actually wrote it out as something. But it's easy to come up with a character, in your mind, as long as you know all the more role playable parts of that character, how they're gonna act towards characters of a certain affiliation to another group or something like that. You have those kinds of things in your head, maybe a little bit, if you've got a couple of characters written down for the game. Like for instance, Crispy had Doc, and he had Marcelo. They were NPCs. He played them to a T from when we did the practice, and it was very consistent from our practice to the current gangster game that we had. So everything was very fluid.
Which part were you practicing the most?
What do you mean for we were it was just mostly for Crispy to get used to us as players, because I think that's the part that first off throws you for a loop. Because if you're playing with a bunch of players that ask the mother may I and stuff like that, you instantly have that in the back of your GM brain, that's gonna happen. And then once you've got the players that can play properly come into your group, it's suddenly like, you're suddenly kind of in a bit of shock, because I don't have to have that huck that stuff out of my back of my head.
Is it like jumping out of the jacuzzi into the regular pool water and your stomach goes when the cold water hits you? Is it like that? Is it like jumping out of a plane with the parachute? Or realizing you don't have the parachute when you jump out the plane?
It's more like man,
being in a race car, Formula One race car, and there's no brakes.
Well, no, because you don't have anxiety or anything over the because you can trust the players to keep everything in
opposite of that. Then.
Yeah, I think for me, I just ended up going, wow, I don't have to worry about all this stuff. I just blurt out something every once in a while, and it's what happens,
Everything's autopilot.
Yeah.
Swimming pool is self-cleaning.
It was like the first time it happened to me where I realized it was when I was sick, and I had the game anyways, and I had like a bit of a tinge of a headache, and I just brought in where they were last time, and I started playing one of the NPCs, and I talked to them. They talked back to me, and then suddenly they were all talking to each other, and then they decided that they were going to do a thing, and I believe they were trying to negotiate a deal with the blacksmith in this town and something, and they were coming up with an idea of how to capture the the griffin. And I was like, I didn't have to do anything. I was just like, I just sat back and just listened to them go back and forth.
You're
Wrote
a
down
referee.
yeah, I was just writing down a couple of notes. That could be an interesting thing later on. And then they meet the blacksmith, and I'd be like, the blacksmith pounds on the ching ching ching. And I would play the character up and everything. What do you want, you young whatever's and I would play the part through. And then they would be back and forth with me for a bit, and then they would go on doing their thing, where they would keep on continuing on the narration of the whole thing through their role play, just like you were saying before. Not necessarily saying their action and what they say. It was more like what they said was part of their action. So
Yeah.
So
Like,
it worked.
Let's go to the tavern and get something to eat. Let's get some grub.
Yeah, they would be
That's
like
a good idea. And then I'll lead the way. And then this way, gentlemen. And then
and then that would lead you in to kind of describe a little bit of a thing in the on the street as they go by. To kind of give that illusion of they're actually moving someplace. And then they get to the place and they all walk in. And they see the serving wenches approach,
Yeah.
and all you only insert when you really need to, and you give the flavor when you have to, and everybody's imaginations take over.
Yeah, it says that looks like a tavern. That looks like a fine establishment just down the road there. Watch out for the horse poop.
Yeah, or
and then you open the door. You don't just wait for the referee to say if the door's locked or closed or how does it open.
Yeah, it just happens. It just goes. That's a nice thing. You don't have to have permission. You don't have to have, sometimes the players will go ahead and think that they might need, permission to do something, but I've been pretty good so far with keeping, like if there was somewhat of a maybe something that they said should not be something that occurred. I've been pretty good at.
What if the players walk into a tavern and one of the players says, "What is that smell?"
I would play that up. I would go with it.
I'm thinking, oh great, the barmaid is kicking out some bum that stinks up the place.
I'm more thinking that something's on fire in the back there, and somebody's trying to put it out. It's
that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Or
I have to come up with an explanation for why a player's character smells something horrible.
For sure. But that's part of the fun. That's part of the fun of being the game master in that kind of a situation where they're making stuff up. It becomes your part of the game. That's the game,
Yeah.
And you don't have to rely on the dice. I mean, you're just putting in things that would make sense, for that kind of situation. And a surprise for the characters, they say that they smell something, but you bring in something that, okay, maybe it's something that they weren't expecting to be smelling, once you describe what's happening, somebody putting out a fire or something. Okay, now we know what that smell is.
Or the character says, "Oh, it smells good in here.
Yeah,
I smell such and such. Now there's such and such being cooked in the oven or something."
That reminds me of the time that Gordo was saying that he was trying what was android type people on a planet. They had their own version of a cafeteria, and they were trying out the food there. Of course, I was thinking the food doesn't taste good or anything like that, But what I should have done was, yeah, Gordo was saying, what was somebody was saying that they were, no, it was Spencer that was saying, "Oh, this smells so delicious," and that sort of thing. I should have just went with that because to him, what would smell delicious? He's a spaceman. He's been around billions of hundreds of planets and stuff like that. He would have his own ideas of what would smell good. And then when Gordo said that he was biting into it, I would just I would describe the plasticity of the item that he was chewing on. It's like the consistency of Play-Doh, that sort of thing. And then he was like, trying to imagine what that would taste like. But that was what I would expect. But maybe the smell of Play-Doh appeals to certain people. Of course, some kids, like Play-Doh and will definitely chew it up themselves. Yeah, it's salty.
Play-Doh. Yeah, Play-Doh smells clean plastic, rubbery. Kids, I knew kids that would chew on silly putty. It was like, I guess, like bubble gum or something.
Yeah, it was kind of like weak, stringy kind of stuff. It was weird. It was like if you played around with it too much, it ended up turning into like really stringy, gummy kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. It would sure pick up a good, I would always like take the comic books and do a,
Yeah, I do the newspapers and stuff, and
then you stretch the face out on it and make all kinds of weird.
eventually, I guess all the ink would be in the silly putty, so it's no longer pink.
Yeah, it becomes a different, it becomes gray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this video though you picked, it's given me a challenge. I'm gonna see if I can find a West End game Star Wars that's role played on YouTube. I don't think there is one.
I don't think anybody could actually. It's the same as Rolling Bones, like these guys are, but it's all D6s. So you're looking for the highest number in your roll. So it's a lot of
there's a wild
adding dice. Yeah.
I don't think it's as bad as this though. Now
probably not.
People in the RPG Brigade bought this Star Wars game from Fantasy Flight Games when it came out, and they did sessions. None of them were able to role play in the game using the rules.
Yeah.
But at least they were going to try it. Because it was Star Wars, nostalgia kicks in. Star Wars was still pretty popular 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So people were like, a Star Wars game. And it's from Fantasy Flight Games, which was known for the the Warhammer role-playing game that they made. Did you ever try that one?
The Warhammer role-playing game? No, I did try.
From 2010?
It was a Warhammer 40K. What was it called? It was Rogue Trader or something like that?
That's what I'm talking about. It had
okay.
Only War, Rogue Trader, Dark Heresy, and about 3 other books.
And that was all D6s in it, I
Yeah.
believe. Yeah.
And there's a guy, Robert J. Fremantle. He still has his YouTube channel. He's still posting videos about Warhammer 40K. And I don't know. He was in the Brigade. His players were sort of 2D-ish, asking Mother May I questions a lot. But as far as him running the game, he kept the pacing going. They were doing a Dark Heresy campaign. This is back in 2012, I think.
So how many people back in the Brigade days, what was the percentage you would say that it role played, like actually role played compared to the 2D or 1D players?
Oh, let's say there's like, I don't know, 120 20 people in the group, I would say 30 of them actually role played.
Oh, okay.
The rest of them
Huh.
were still doing the Mother May I. They were learning though.
Right.
They came knowing that they weren't role playing, but they wanted to learn.
Right.
And I think the problem with the brigade was we let people in the group who weren't role players, and then they would invite their friends in who weren't even ever role players.
Yeah.
They were just, they heard of it was an open group, anyone can join. And that was the end of that, because the SJWs came in and started canceling everybody and doxing everybody.
Yeah, we that's something that we're trying not to do with our RPG Crusade group is keep it with a kind of closed group.
Yeah, I was saying before you let them in, they should be posting videos about role play and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, we're giving them a little bit of a chance to go ahead and show some videos, that sort of thing. In the meantime, keep it kind of warm and friendly in the group for what they see, because when they enter in our Discord, they only see a certain part of the Discord, so they don't see everything in the Discord. A lot of it's hidden away from them. So once they show that they're willing to go ahead and practice, we give them opportunities all the time to go ahead and pop in and do a practice one-on-one, or we want to see how they react and everything.
Yeah.
Until then, they're kind of still kept at that level where they're just still the green color and intermingling with the other green colored players.
Yeah.
Learning stuff from the higher ups. But
That makes sense.
but we give everybody kind of a chance to go ahead and do it. If they don't, well, they end up getting the boot after a while. So there's a few people that are in that group right now that are probably going to be getting booted by the end of the week. So
yeah, I don't like doing the boot thing.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but if you can't put in the work to practice, or
Get
or
a potato.
Yeah.
Get a couch potato.
it's like, why are you in the group?
But I'm your friends. I'm your
Yeah.
you're my
No.
you're my heroes. Don't meet your heroes, kid.
Yeah. So yeah, we want to have that the crusade kind of just more or less mostly the ones that want to go ahead and role play and bring in people that are learning. So
So far, the crusade it's still together. It's been what, 6 months, 7 months, 8 months?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I've had the website for a year. I've had my 1 year thing come up already, and
okay.
letting me know that the website has been up for that long. But that needs a little bit of tweaking for cell phones. So you have to have a certain layout for the cell phone for a website to look good. So Dave's still working on that, but as far as
the mobile version,
mobile version, yeah. So he's still tweaking that out, and yeah, I have to go over that with him a little bit more on because we have the basics site set up, but there's a certain way that you go in and do your editing, because he's using a mod for WordPress. So.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah, so it's a special mod that you have to purchase, kind of idea, but he has the license for it, so he's able to install it on ours and have our site fully functional that way, so you can do all your editing and everything, and post your blog stuff, or you show the most recent videos. We want to go ahead and put more practical kind of stuff, how to learn how to role play, give you some guidelines, that sort of stuff. Just kind of simple things to kind of get people point it into the right direction and give some examples. Now that we finally got some, examples out there, which was the hard part, is to kind of get enough videos out there amongst the internet between me, Crispy, Max, everybody, and now we finally got quite a few 4D role play. Well, where we're trying to be 4D, and we have quite a few streams out there that people can go, oh, okay, this is how they play. And I don't know, do you find that there's much difference between a Crispy game to a Max game to a Rick game to a Phil game?
No difference.
It seems to be all pretty much, yeah. So it all seems to be working out so far, so good. And
you should be able to trade out GMs, and the game should still be the same.
Yeah. So
the rules don't just change just because someone else is running the game. Now, the social contract might have different things. How much can the players narrate or add to the scene, that sort of thing.
But the main thing,
character versus character, is that allowed or not?
Main thing is going to be whether or not the players can role play, and that's the important part. It's up to them to decide on whether or not they're going to add something to the narrative. You don't have to. Yeah, it's entirely optional. And because the game master doesn't intercede in that kind of way at all, I can't tell them to add more narrative until after the end of the game, or or cut back on this kind of narrative. If you just don't do that.
For me, the way it worked for me was my lizard brain would think, should I ask the GM if this is allowed? And I would stop and go, I can just say my character's doing this. I shouldn't have to ask. So it's just a habit you learn.
Yeah.
What would make sense? It would make sense that there's, tip money left on the bar that your character just grabs.
Yeah.
Looking around and then grabs the $20 bill that's on the counter.
Now, if you're the game master, you're kind of like, you're kind of imagining
there was no money. There was no bar and there was no money on the bar.
Could be, did he take it out of a glass? Because sometimes you have the tip, glass there with the money sticking, or was it just indiscriminate?
However the player says it, that's how it was. I'm not going to change how they did it.
But in the end, it doesn't matter. So, it really doesn't matter. Does it really have some sort of overlying effect of the entire game? No, it doesn't.
Okay, my mind was seeing like a little 8-year-old kid just barely looking over the top of the bar, and they saw money, and they saw water from water rings from glasses still that haven't been wiped away by the barmaid,
right?
And just sees the 20 there and grabs it.
Oh, okay.
Nothing fancy. It's not like coins left under a glass of water, upside down. No tricks, or on a plate, or with a note.
There's a million ways you can imagine it, but in the end, it doesn't really matter. So, why should you even fret over it? Is where I'm kind of, my brain has started evolving to why. Don't worry about it.
A big old ceramic jug that has a note taped to it saying, "Tipping is not a place in China."
Yeah. Yeah, nice play of words. But
I used to look at that every time I would go to this one pizza parlor. They always had that sign out by their cash register: "Tipping is not a place in China."
Yeah. So, yeah, once you're past that, it's kind of like, just let whatever is that's happening happen. You know, it, um, I mean, you can't when you're in that mindset, you're not interceding with it any like you're as a game master, you're not saying no, you can't do that, or you know, you can't intercede that way. You just let whatever happens happen. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, otherwise the characters are just standing there doing nothing.
Yeah, let them have their fun.
Yeah, they're paralyzed. They're paralyzed with fear. They're going to do something they can't do, so they don't.
Yeah,
They ask questions.
that was yeah, that was the interesting thing about, you know, having my first, the when we did Centauri the first time. It's like I was hoping that they would add a little bit more, but like I can't go in there and say, oh, add, do
Well, you were
some
showing
more.
pictures. You were showing pictures.
Yeah, I was showing some pictures. Yeah, yeah.
And the pictures showed everything they needed to know.
Yeah,
There wasn't.
Yeah.
They didn't have to add anything really.
Oh, well, I mean, they did add actually quite a bit to the
I
narrative
mean, their
of
own.
the whole
Their
thing.
maybe their
Yeah.
own personal effects or something,
Yeah,
but they didn't have to add the thingamabob for this thingamadooey. You know, because you had a picture of basically
I had
a 3/4 view almost of half of the sections.
I had pictures of several different kinds of aliens and stuff, but none of them really came up. So it was they were just kind of there as pieces of something that I could pull out of my ass whenever I needed to kind of idea. So I wasn't
Now,
kind of caught short.
in the olden days, I used to email pictures to players. You know, this is what the inside of the ship looks like, and I'd show them, just promo pictures from 2001 or from Alien or from Star Trek. You know, this is the aesthetics of the ship interior. The hallways look like this. This is what the bridge looks like, kind of a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And then someone might connect all the rooms together, from the role play.
Right.
Because I haven't made a map or anything.
Right.
And but now it's well, when you play with the same players, you don't have to keep doing that. Everyone just kind of knows. It's when you bring new players, that's when you start doing that kind of stuff. You want to make sure they're on the same page.
Yeah, yeah. I can understand that for sure.
But yeah, a fresh player, first thing I say is, what movies do you watch? In that airplane movie, the guy says, you watch gladiator movies? You ever see a grown man naked? Remember that? The pilot was weird, asking someone, you ever watch gladiator films? I didn't know what he meant by that. But he was talking about Roman wrestling, which is done naked, I guess.
Right.
But I mean, I was a kid watching that movie, so I didn't get half the jokes. But
yeah,
the that movie was rated PG. Can you imagine? You can't even make
you
that
can't
movie
do
now.
that. Yeah. Well, like 90% of those movies couldn't be done today. It's crazy.
But I remember in the 90s, I would get really picky. Are we playing Enemy Mine, or is it more like Last Starfighter? Like, what are these alien lizard guys? What do they look like? Are they the lizard people from V, or from Land of the Lost? Or I couldn't be in their game unless I could actually visualize what the lizard thing looks like. But now it's like, don't care. Just say lizard people. Each player will imagine a totally different lizard race.
Oh, exactly.
And I have to not show a picture after they've already got the image in their head.
Yeah.
Or if I mention a 1950s style house, bungalow, cottage house, Renaissance, Spanish Renaissance or something house, I might show a picture if they don't know those kinds of designs and homes. But if they know architecture already, I'm not going to show a picture, because then I'll just let them figure it out. I'll mention the house it's brick or stucco.
Yeah.
Aluminum
Yeah.
siding.
Yeah, you don't want to dash their what they have already in their head.
They got some weird Tuscan style postmodern home with one side of the house is you can't see from the hedges in front of it, and then the other side of the house is all glass. There's no wall, it's just all glass, and they have a view of the ocean off the top of the cliff kind of a thing. Now I just say Tony Stark's house. People know what Tony Stark's house looked like. It's a 360 glass house, basically, just jetting off from the edge of Malibu.
Right.
Everyone knows that house is going to get blown up. So players get used to the idea that their house is going to blow up, their spaceship will blow up. It's a one shot. It's not going to matter what everything looks like. Oh, were the stairs made of brushed aluminum, or was there side paneling on the walls? Or no, it doesn't matter. The house is going to get nuked from orbit. It's not going to matter.
Yeah. No, there's no questions asked in this game anyway, so
Because I don't
it is what it is.
I don't do home-based games where at the end of each session the players return back to their safety place.
Yeah.
And a new episode starts next week from their headquarters. I don't do those kinds of games. Even in Star Trek, I don't do episodic Star Trek. I do J.J. Abrams. You're on the Kelvin. Guess what? The Kelvin dies. You're on the Enterprise. Guess what? You're on Vulcan. Guess what? Vulcan dies. In that movie, he's blown up spaceships, planets, everything.
Oh yeah. That's one thing I'm trying to think of for this next Shadows in the Stars. We had the idea pop up about using a space station as kind of like the center kind of thing.
Yeah. Remember the space stations and gravity?
Yeah, to solidify, a starting point, and then the idea of having players go out and explore and do things, trying to help the space station. Perhaps there's a couple of people that want to do that. There's probably going to be people that just want to be pirates, or whatever. I just thought it would be something to start up and have adventures kind of sprout off from, and to let that thing evolve. That's what I was kind of thinking, that could be something that we could do, where you could still have episodics and some kind of something that keeps everything together.
Like in the old X-Men movies, they're sort of episodic, but they they have disasters at the beginning and the ends of their films, and even though it's episodic, and they may have to do like a rebuilding at some point. Maybe their headquarters gets destroyed. The the crewmen or their main characters are getting murdered.
Yep. Yeah,
So
I mean it's continually being evolution
messed with. I don't know.
Yeah.
So one thing I've learned is that if a ship survives a one shot, the players want to be in the next one shot on the ship again.
Right.
And I try not to do the thing where the sequel is always worse than the original film. Superman 2 compared to Superman 1.
Right.
It's rare. For me, it's rare when a sequel is as good as the original. Like some would say Aliens is better than Alien.
Right.
But then there's like Alien versus Predator, and then there's Alien versus Predator 2.
It got kind of awful after that.
Or RoboCop 2 or RoboCop 3.
Yeah.
So maybe a part of my brain says, don't do a sequel. Don't do a sequel. Just do a completely different thing next time. Don't. But
Well,
if you have the same players, I guess you can keep doing it, right?
right, yeah.
If they're building on the things and they're just getting the hang of how the thing they built works, if it's still in one piece, it makes sense that another one shot is going to happen.
I was also thinking, that the players can play like multiple players, just one at a time, different characters one at a time. So
Do you
if
say that
they,
again?
if they have a character that's going, say that you have a group of like 3 guys that are heading off on a ship that goes off into another system. So it's
Okay.
going to take them, and we're playing, Traveler. Obviously, it's going to take them a
Playing
week to
one to
get there.
one, one
Yeah.
to one. No.
So when they're going off and doing that, they can still have characters from the space station, which are totally different types of characters.
Oh yeah.
And they can keep on doing the thing at the space station, or going, to the planet side, or to one of the multiple worlds around around the space station, and do things. And still have adventures, within the span of the one session,
Exactly.
and
That's why you have more than one character.
yeah.
When you're making a character, make an extra one.
Yeah.
Just in case.
So that's what I was thinking about with this idea, was to have that still going on, where you could play the multiple characters, just pick one, for the session. So
That makes sense. Yeah, I've done that with GURPS back in the day. The problem I had with GURPS, I don't know if I told you this, but I didn't so much play GURPS. I played GURPS Traveler.
right.
So I was still playing Traveler. I was just using the GURPS version, thinking this is the best role-playing game ever, and we're using the best setting ever. How could this go wrong? But after a few years of playing it, I kept thinking something's not right here. It's just it's not pushing all the Traveler buttons that I was used to, back in the late 80s. And the reason why is you're not playing Traveler. You are playing GURPS, reskinned with Traveler over.
Right.
So it never came off as feeling like Traveler. Because for one, your character has hit points. Your character levels up. Your character is point by. You're using the GURPS character generator, not a Traveler character generator. The ships are GURPS ships with just Traveler brand ship names slapped on the side of them.
Right.
So you're using the GURPS vehicle rules instead of Traveler rules. You still have the jump. It takes a week. But building the ship and all the ship components and the space procedures on board the ship, it's GURPS.
Yeah.
Once I figured that out, that I was doing it that way, I was like, I'm done. And I haven't opened the Traveler book since for GURPS. I still have them, because they have good library data stuff about the Third Imperium at different eras.
Right.
One takes place in 1105. One takes place, I think, in 900.
Have you ever used it? Used the lore in your games, or do you just totally do your own thing?
50-50.
Okay.
That's part of the email I would get from somebody. Hey, let's do Traveler, and I say, well, technically, what kind of Traveler? Like Third Imperium, or just use the Traveler, mechanic? So
right.
we would talk about that stuff. And I'd find out that they were watching a movie, some sci-fi movie. What was the movie at the time? Something like, what was out back then? There was like a remake of Earth Day the Earth Stood Still. Oh, there was not Fifth Element, but something like Fifth Element came out like a few years later. Oh, what were those? Anyway,
is Lost in Space? Lost in Space is
it
the
could
new
be
one.
It could be a Lost in Space remake, or it could be that AI movie with the kid and the talking bear toy.
Right.
It could be something like that. Oh, maybe it was it Prometheus? I think it was Prometheus. That had come out. Oh, and of course there was the Star Trek movies,
Right.
2009, and then the Marvel stuff. Yeah, it was the Star Trek stuff that was coming out in the late 2000s. People were watching those movies and they're thinking, "Hey, let's do this. Let's do this kind of stuff." And I remember Andrew getting all in a fussy fit when I said to him that I've played Star Trek many times using Traveler rules, and he's like, "How?" It's like not even the same setting. So I knew something was not right with him. Because Traveler is a generic it's a generic mechanic that works with any setting. It says, well, Traveler jump is a weak. Well, yeah, in the Traveler setting. Who's to say that there's no USS Enterprises using the Traveler mechanic? You're still going to have warp drive skill. You're still going to have engineering. You're still going to have sick bays. You're still going to have navigation, helm, whatever on the bridge. You're still going to have a small craft skill for shuttlecraft.
Right. So, do you think we should shut it down before everybody starts cussing on our stream?
Yeah, just kick the person. That's called Twitch.
That's Twitch. That's Twitch, all right. Yay, Twitch!
Just kick him.
Just watch my other videos. This is kind of just a lingering on of our discussion about another game that we were kind of showing. So you'd have to see it from the very beginning, I guess.
Your video got recommended by Twitch.
Woohoo! Yay, Twitch!
All the pervs are here.
Alrighty. Yeah. Well, we're gonna go ahead and shut it down now anyways. Yeah.
I'll see you later. I gotta
we'll
go eat.
see you guys.